Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be making a birthday box card, and I'm going to show you how to customize the year and the name so you can make this for anybody. So before getting started, make sure to go to my blog at svgnation.com to download the free SVG file. I've also left a link in the video description that's going to take you directly there, as well as links to the supplies that I'm using in case you want to check any of those out. So once you have that uploaded, this first step is very important. So Cricut Design Space has been crazy lately and is uploading things smaller than it should be. So when I uploaded this, the file is only 12 inches wide, but that's not the right size. So make sure you check the size and see if you need to adjust it. So we do need to adjust it if it says 12. With your proportions locked, go ahead and change that 12 to 16.21. And that's going to automatically adjust the height as well, so you don't need to worry about that. So now once you've got the height and width set, go ahead and ungroup your layers. And really quickly, we're just going to go ahead and change our score lines. So we're just going to click right here on this layer to open it and click on this line and change that operation to score. And then you need to make sure that you click above so both of these are selected to attach it. And we're just going to do that for these purple layers here. So we're just going to go ahead and click score and then select to attach it. So I often get emails, with people saying, why didn't my Cricut score where it's supposed to? Like they'll say that it's scored on a separate sheet of paper, and that's just because you're not attaching the score lines to the paper you want it to score on. So it's really important that you go ahead and attach those. And if you ever have that issue, now you know that you missed attaching it, so you know how to go back and fix it. So we're just changing the score lines and we're attaching it. And I'm going to come back to this one later, so I'm going to skip that one. And I'm going to go here. And it's real easy. I have it grouped together. So you're just clicking on the lines, and then you're just clicking on that group with both layers to attach it. Okay, so next I'm going to show you guys how to add a year. So we're just taking this piece right here, and I'm going to go ahead and send this to front, just because I'm going to line this up here, just so as you're adding the number, you can kind of see how it's going to fall on your card. So we're going to go ahead and add the text, and I'm creating a 13th birthday card, and I'm just going to slide this where I want it over here, and you can go in and change your font. This is the font I'm going to be using, but you can select any font that you want. So I'm going to close that out, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the 13th, and I want to make this pretty big. I want this to stand out. I kind of like the size of that. And now I'm just going to click on it with this layer that it's going to attach to so I can center that. And so next we want to go ahead and add like an offset to it. So click on the offset, and you can adjust that by sliding this. I don't want the offset that big, so I'm just going to kind of slide that a little bit. And I think that maybe a little bit more. I think that's perfect. So I'm just going to apply that. And if you want another color, like I have the white and purple, then you're going to need to duplicate this. So I'm just going to do that. So this one right here, I want to cut in white. And so I'm just selecting out of my material colors. That way it cuts on the same mat as the other white paper. And so I'm going to change that. And then this one right here, this one I'm going to cut this dark purple because that's my glitter. So I'm going to select that color. And now this one right here, we want to attach this to the base. So I'm going to change that to that light purple color. But before we do that, we need to go ahead and take this group right here, and we need to ungroup it. And then I'm just going to select this, and I'm going to select my offset. We don't need those lines selected, so don't select those. And you can select those together just by holding down Shift as you select them. And then we're just going to go to combined, and you can unite these or weld these. I'm just going to weld them because I don't need to make any changes, and that's perfect right there. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way. And I'm going to click on this, and I'm just going to right click, and I'm going to say send to back, just because we want these lines back right here so that we can change those to score. And then I'm just going to hit Shift while I select both of those layers so I can attach those together. So now that's ready to go, and all we're going to do is we're just gluing that white on top and that yellow or that purple right on top of this when we assemble it. So if you just want the background to be that light purple, then there's no need for this extra piece right here. Okay, so the last thing is personalizing with the name. Move all these things out the way. So the name is going to go on this piece right here, And I'm going to use my Cricut pens. You can also cut the name on cardstock and glue it on just like we're doing with Happy Birthday and all these other pieces, but I'm going to use pens. So I'm going to add my text, and we're just going to create the name. So I want a capital here. And then we need to go into our fonts, and we do need to change this to like a writing font. And so I have a few that I already have downloaded, and I'll leave a link in the video description that shows like my 10 favorite free writing fonts. But Cricut does have a few as well. So if we go in here, we can search. Let's just, right here, we can actually filter right here. I'm going to get rid of that, sorry. Let's just filter right here to writing fonts, and we also want to look for free ones. So let's just filter for those two. And then you can kind of click on these and see which one you like and see if one stands out to you. So I'm going to use this Cricut alphabet font, and so once you've chosen that, just click off of it. And obviously I need to resize this because we need this to fit right on this one right here. And I'm just going to select both of those so I can align this. We're going to align it center, horizontally, and center vertically, so it's centered right in there. And then click on the text, and you do want to make sure that this does say pen and writing. And you can also change like your pen color. Since we're just using one pen color, I'm not going to change it just because I don't need to know when to switch out my pens, but you can change it if you just want to see how it's going to look. Once you have that set, go ahead and select both of those and make sure that you attach that. And that again is going to show your Cricut where it needs to write and cut, so that way it writes in the right place. So these are all the changes we need to make. So this is ready to go ahead and cut. So let's go ahead and select Make. And before you cut, I want you to check out your matte previews. So right here we see that the pen is right exactly where I want it, so that's good. But you also want to check out these right here. You want to make sure you see the score lines where they should be. If they're on a different mat, then that means you did not attach them, so you need to go back and do that. So now you can go ahead and connect your Cricut, follow those prompts for when to add your pen and when to add your scoring tool, and cut everything out. So the best way to get cardstock off of your mat is to flip your mat over, and then you're just going to roll and just kind of press down on that cardstock to gently help it off, especially if you've got like small pieces. Just kind of get up under there, and that's going to keep it from ripping or tearing. But be careful if you're using a mat that's not Cricut. So I tried these ones, the HTV Ront, out on the Prime Day sale, and these have been great actually, but they're not as flexible as Cricut. So when I was taking some of the smaller pieces off and bent it, it just popped right in half. So just don't bend it as much as I did here. If you're using the Cricut ones, I've never had that issue. They're a lot more flexible, so it works for those. So we're going to start off by gluing all the little decorative pieces on first. And everything should line up for you, so just make sure that you line everything up first. That way you know where and like what way to glue it on. And if you're unsure of where to glue anything, you can always look in Cricut Design Space and see how it's glued there. And some of these do need layered, so just make sure that you're gluing down the bottom layers first. So just take your time and just kind of look at what you should be gluing down before you glue it down. And you can also use your brayer to help you press all of that down really well. That's going to flatten everything out really nicely. And then once you have the pieces glued on, you want to fold on these tab pieces, so you're folding back. So it's like here's the front design, you're folding back this way. And you should have those score lines right there. And so it should just kind of stand up like that. So we're just going to set this one aside, and we're moving on to Birthday. So we just have a lot of letters here to glue on. And they should have just a little bit of space around them as you're gluing these on, so you're not lining it up completely. So you're just leaving like a little space. So before cutting this out, I recommend looking at your scrap pieces if you hold onto your scrap cardstock, just because pretty much all of this project, except for the base, can be used with scrap paper. So it's a great use for all of that if you have that lying around like I do. And you can also cut all of these letters out using like adhesive vinyl if you just want to stick them on there, or you can even use iron on vinyl and just use a really low heat setting to iron that onto your cardstock for just a few seconds. So that'll keep you from having to glue all these down. A lot of times I like to use iron on vinyl with cardstock, but I just wanted to go with all cardstock today. That way I could use some of my fun glitter cardstock that I have. So it's just going to take a little bit of gluing. And remember to fold those pieces back so it should be able to stand up. Oh, and when it's standing up, you're looking at the design in the front. And we're just moving right down the line. So we've got happy here. And with happy, I am leaving a little border just like I did birthday. So you're not gluing it all the way to the top. We're just leaving a cute little border. I'm just gonna fold those in, facing back. Set that aside, and then I'm moving on to the 13. So now if you opted to go for a different color background like stroke, then these are gonna fill this whole area. But if you just wanted to just do the single number where the purple or your base color is the stroke, then you'll leave that. But I wanted a different color for the 13 so it stands out really well. Now we're just adding that one, leaving the border around it, and the same for the 3. I'm just going to go ahead and fold back on those sides right there, and then we're going to set this aside. And then we have this little rectangle piece right here that just folds right down the middle. Get a good fold on that. And this is where we're going to put our name that we cut out. And you can either cut out letters, but I went easier on this one with the Cricut pens. Okay, so then we're just gonna glue these balloons onto this back piece. So these fit like a puzzle, so they all have a very specific place that they go. And I highly recommend lining these up before you glue any of them down. That way you don't mess up where to put them. And then you can just kind of start gluing each one down one by one. And there's like a little trim around the end that we're trying to keep there as we glue these down. And this is probably the most difficult part of all of this, and that's just making sure that you do line everything up first and that you remember where it goes and how it goes when you go to glue it down. So really take your time on this part. If you're not sure how they go, there's a picture in my blog post. I took a close-up so that you could easily see. So just go to that blog post, open up that picture while you assemble this, and I'll show you exactly where they all go. All right, and then once you got those balloons on, you want to go ahead and flip that over because we are gluing these pieces on the other side. And to make this a little bit easier, I'm actually going to go ahead and fold this first, and you are folding in to the front. But that way I can see where I'm gluing these. So we're just folding those in, and then we're also folding these in. There's score lines on all of these where you're folding, so it'll be easy to know where you're folding. Now I'm going to flatten that out and turn upside down. And then, so those are just gluing right there between those score lines, but you are gluing them on the outside because we want to see those on the side of the card just to make it prettier. So now that we have all these little pieces glued on, it's time to assemble everything. And this part is actually pretty quick, so go ahead and take all your pieces, and we're gonna first start with the number. So for me, that's 13. You're gonna kind of lay this flat, and you're lining this up with the bottom, and then you're also lining this up right here with where it folds. So I'm just lining it up with the bottom and the end right here where it folds. You don't want it to go over. You want that to still be able to fold. It's a little difficult because that's in the way, but I can tell it can still fold. And now we're just folding this over, adding some glue right here, and gluing that down. And just kind of press that for a second and then fold it over while keeping that part glued down. And then the next one is happy, and we're doing the same thing. Just kind of lay that flat, line it up with the bottom, and then you're lining this up against the 13. Like, you don't want it to overlap or anything, so it's okay if there's just a tiny little space, but you want to get it pretty close. And now we're just folding that up so we can add some glue, and now pressing it down. And again, give that a second before you flip it up. And then we're flipping it up. And as you flip these up, go ahead and press these down. It's important that you do fold on them, but press them down so that they lay flat. Next, we're moving on to birthday. So let's line that up. And we're gonna fold this back, add some glue, press that down. Then we're gonna flip that over, pressing that down. And then our last piece right here are these presents. Line that up down here and line it up against the side. And then just fold that up, add a little bit of glue, press it down, hold it for a second, and then flip it over. And then next you want to kind of press down on these, and you're just adding some glue right on those little tab pieces. It can kind of be hard to see where it ends. You're just adding it on the tab pieces. Then you're just going to fold this right on top. And I'm just pressing up. If any of them are kind of sticking down a little, I'm pressing them up. And go ahead and hold this for a minute or two, maybe not quite a minute or two, but hold it for a little bit. You really want that to stick really well and attach. Maybe even flip it over, give it some pressure from this side. Oh, and also this side right here, this is where you can write like a message, happy birthday, whatever you want to write. So if it's easier to do that before you assemble it, you can, but since it lays flat, it's pretty easy to write on. But that's why I like using a light color for the box, is so that you can easily write on this. Okay. So now we're just gonna flip up just like that. And you can kind of fold it back and forth to help loosen it up and to help it to stand in place. Especially once that dries, you can do that better. But we still have one more step, so we're just gonna fold these in front, add a little bit of glue to the front and to the back on both of these. And now we're just gonna take our little nameplate and we're just attaching it right there. So those pieces should go push right in, and you're bringing it in on the sides, making sure it all aligns. Just kind of press that down. You can even squirt a little glue in there if you don't want it like open down there, just to help it close all the way. So once you have that attached, your card is done. It should easily stand up. It should be very sturdy. It doesn't even feel like it's going to fall over at all. And you just flip it like this to put it in an envelope, which I do have an envelope template. I'm gonna show you how to assemble that next. If you're using the envelope template, once you upload that to Cricut Design Space, again, with both of these selected, check your size, keep your proportionates locked, and make sure that this says 16.29. And when I first made this envelope, I forgot to change that, and then I could not figure out why my envelope did not work. I'm really frustrated with this new change. I hope Cricut Design Space fixes this. So it's really important to watch your sizes right now while this is happening. But all we're going to do is we're just changing this right here, the operation. We're just changing that to score, and then we're just attaching it. And then you can go ahead and cut these out real quick. All right, so for the envelope template, we're just going to fold on all of the score lines, and there's just 4 of them that go around the frame here, and this one right on top. Then we're going to press these 3 in right here, and I want to get a really good fold on these, so I'm just going to grab my brayer and make sure that I get these folded really well. Then we're just going to add glue. We're just adding it to the 3 sides. Then you're just going to take this piece right here and just place it right on top. So it's a quick and easy envelope template. Just line that up. And you can use any type of paper for this. You can use cardstock, light cardstock. I prefer using a lighter cardstock. It just gives a little more flexibility to the envelope. And also then you can use like cute pattern paper. But a thicker cardstock will work as well. Especially if you're mailing it, then you may want to go with a thicker cardstock. And so that's it. Our envelope is done. Super cute with the balloons. So we're just going to fold this. And it's going to slide right in here. And then you can tape it, put a sticker on it, whatever you want to seal it. So it's super cute. If you guys have any questions on how to make this, ask those in the comments and I'll answer them there. If you guys have any suggestions on crafts that you'd like to see, you guys can leave those as suggestions as well. If I get enough of them, I'll definitely see what I can do. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe before you go. Bye.